Morning everybody. So this is a modified double filtration plasmapheresis as a cost-effective procedure compared to total plasma exchange and DFPP. So we know plasmapheresis is separation of the plasma from the whole blood using membrane filter or centrifugal procedures, and double filtration is basically from the plasma we try to remove the component selectively which we don't want, like lipoproteins or immunoglobulin, first explained by Agassi in 1980s. Here in India, PLEX is the common procedure used for desensitization in transplant and also in non-transplant condition. And double filtration plasmapheresis, because it involves a second filter, specialized tubings and equipment, this is less employed because of cost, and in low resource setting, it's not widely used. So this is plasmapheresis. Either we use centrifugal method or membrane separation, and DFPP involves second filter. Depending on what component we want to remove, we have various filters available. And adsorption is another procedure like ABIO we commonly use. So in 2005, we were involved with IKDRC in the desensitization and tolerance protocol. So we were using splenic radiation and double filtration plasmapheresis routinely, but also in cross-match positive to desensitize these patients. So background cost and non-availability of cascade filter was a problem at that time, especially we had to import the filters and had to use the plasma to flow or certain equipment which needs with the connection. Though plasmapheresis is widely used, we need to use multiple cycles to achieve therapeutic benefit, and in Indian scenario it is time consuming because every procedure alternately we need to use and requires replacement procedure. So we decided to study our own data on using modified double filtration plasmapheresis, whether it is more effective or equally effective to plasmapheresis as DFPP. So modified procedures here, what we did was second filter, instead of using the routine filters, we were using the dialyzers or high flux dialysis, which is more frequently available now, where we could reabsorb most of the filtrate and give it on to the patient so that we can cut down the cost on replacement fluid. 2 dialysis machines we could use, or separate blood pump as a dedicated DFPP equipment. And separated plasma is run through the second filter, and then the third peristaltic pump separates these effluent into the patient circulation. So we were able to achieve up to 1.5 liters maximum filtrate, and high molecular weight unfiltered plasma is collected into the annual bottle, which is discarded. So endpoint for this study, we were using it as removal of serum IgG, that is pre and post procedure should be 60% less than the value. Suppose it is 12 at the start, it should be less than 5 at the end of the session, and then compared it with regular plasmapheresis and other conventional DP procedure. And most important thing was whether we could take this to the lower resource setting people, especially in Northeast or in African countries where procedures were denied and they had to travel all the way to India. So in this study, we used the second filter connected to the plasma filter, and commonly available 1.8 meter square filtrate were used, and between 2014 to 2020 was the data analyzed. And of course, we excluded all those who could not complete these endpoint procedures. So this DFPP plasmato Asahi filters were used, whereas in the other procedure we could see 2 dialysis machines, one connected to the plasma filter, other to the regular dialysis filter, and then the third peristaltic pump which sucks out the filtrate and pushes back to the patient. So we have a full calculation available. Can you run this? So this recently we did in Ahmedabad as a small ICU setup where the patient had a high PRA were denied DSA values. So we had to go in for modified procedure. We had to train him. And this procedure was done in 2000, it was a press release. where the patient immediate post-transplant, what we do is we do a diureophoresis, that's we connect a third filter. So we have a citrate dialysis going on. So we can even do a heparin-free dialysis in post-op condition using 3 filters. So this is the dialysis filter connected to a plasma filter, and then comes the cascade flow, and the discard is the one which is removed. So this patient was in post-op condition, but those days it was in 2004-5 where we had more difficulties and we were using Cobe machines and separate things. So results, out of 78 patients, 50 patients underwent modified procedure. We compared with 28 patients of plasmapheresis and DFPP 20. And women were more in DFPP basically because they were highly sensitized and we had to desensitize them. Most of the procedures here we were doing in a pre-transplant condition, but even in non-transplant, post-transplant, whenever DSA was going up, we used to do it. And the common filter used in all were plasma filter, and in DFPP it was cascade flow. And it's most of the time we were using Nipro 1.9H or F80 Fresenius. Number of cycles which we did in PP was 140 cycles. So for each patient it used to be 4 to 5 exchanges. Whereas if you see DFPP and modified procedure, in 2 to 3 exchanges we were able to achieve the results. And the complication rate, if you see in thing, it was 72 episode compared to thing. And the cost wise, if you see, DFPP is only 45,000 to 75,000, whereas in other procedure it used to cross 1 lakh. So each cycle exchange for plasma exchange, DFPP means 2.4 to 3 exchanges we can do. That means we are cutting down the number of procedure in plasma. And we were using this procedure and published it in 2006 as a routine procedure where we were using rituximab at that time when it was not available. And disadvantage with plasmapheresis is only 30% of plasma is extracted in membrane procedure. And we cannot use anticoagulant. Infusion of albumin is a must, and we need to do minimum 4 exchange to achieve the result of 30% removal. So there is very limited study, especially from CMC Vellore. They said albumin removal was 11%, and each cycle had 2.4 volume exchange, which is similar to our results. And plasmapheresis, our complication rate was 50% compared to 14% in the present study. So this procedure was very useful, where we could use it even in Africa. This was the first country transplant we did in 2018, where less facility available even to do a cross match, or we do not know the immune status prior to that. So we use it as a routine procedure, or if you send it to South Africa, we can get it done through them. So the conclusion is modified DFPP in Indian scenario and developing countries is a cheap and safe procedure, can be used in as an equivalent to plasmapheresis. But only thing is we need to give little more replacement fluid compared to DFPP. Thank you.